Hey yo.
Okay, cool. Excellent. So, welcome to Push to Talk, episode 4. I'm joined today by Andrew Livingston, actor, biker, entrepreneur. Anything else?
That sounds right.
Excellent.
It's all new
Yeah,
right now.
yeah. I wanted to get you on here because you do so much, and obviously you've kind of been a mentor to me in some ways. Even though you may not have known that, I've always kind of looked up to you at some level. Especially in the acting stuff, and I know you've kind of moved away from that. So I just wanted to talk to you about all of that and how you've kind of moved from one part of your life to the next, to the next.
Sure.
Um,
Um, it's all like I'm still processing all of it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's interesting because of COVID. I got a second to step outside of everything and take a look at it, and I realized that I had achieved everything I wanted to with theater. I was a successful actor. I was working full time as an actor, and I was trying to think what are my dream roles that I still haven't had a chance to do yet. And the only ones I could think of are like 60 to 80-year olds. It's like,
right.
okay, so I'm not gonna be able to do that for another 20 years. What do I have these other passions that I'd like to pursue. So I started talking to my wife about it, and she was very encouraging and saying, why not? Life is short. Let's do it all. So we got this opportunity to buy a building in Marion, Virginia, and I decided I wanted to pursue the outdoors and start an outdoor gear company and a hiker hostel. So I love the community in hikers and in bike packers. Everybody's just so supportive and understanding of we're doing something very difficult, and it's just cool to talk to people
Yeah.
who are also interested in it. So yeah, I'm taking the leap and taking a break, I guess, from acting. I still want to do it. I still love it,
Right.
but right now is a good time to because I'm more excited about the outdoors than I am theater right now, and I think that has a lot to do with COVID. But
Right.
yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think you chose a good time, so to speak, to take a break from it, especially with COVID. All the friends that I know have said like now is the worst time to be an actor. And
Yeah,
you know, I'm sure like, just taking a break from all that in general has kind of been a good change of pace because at least for me too, because I've taken a break from acting as well and kind of moved into boxing and also I've started my new job and stuff. So I
yeah.
think it kind
What's
of forced everybody to change in a way.
Absolutely. I love the boxing stuff. What's your new job again?
So I just got a job as a software engineer for a consulting company. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I studied. It's like it's not
I don't know.
something I'm
That's
super
still
passionate
amazing.
about. Thank you. I
Gotcha.
appreciate that.
Well, yeah, it still sounds like an amazing job.
Yeah.
When's your next fight?
Well, so I've recently I had to get some stitches. I had some health stuff
Oh,
come up. They had to like do a biopsy and stuff and check up on me. I'm all good.
okay. Okay, good.
But they didn't want me to fight until that went away. So I recently got the stitches out. There's like a couple of them here, so they're healing up. We're hoping to. There's actually going to be like a pro-am, I think, fight in November at my home gym where they're going to have like a couple of the Newport News pros fight and also some of like the amateur fighters. And I'm hoping to be on that card because it's going to be like a huge event. So I'm hoping to fight it in November at the pro-ams.
And so
Yeah.
where are you living now?
Virginia, it's Williamsburg, so it's like
Okay,
right on that eastern coast in Virginia. Yeah.
gotcha. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to see you fight sometime.
Yeah,
Anyways.
man. It's just so fun. Like, just like you, like you said you got kind of bored of like there was no other roles you could play and you were looking for like the next thing you could tackle and overcome. And like for me, that's like what boxing is. It's something where you can pursue it, you can be competitive and like it's just I love winning. I love learning a new skill and boxing is like
Yeah,
the perfect environment for that.
sure. And you said you lost recently, right?
Yeah, so I had 3 fights so far. I won the first two. I lost the last one.
What
He
was
was a
that
big,
like?
yeah, he was a bigger dude. He was taller, and I saw that, and then it got in my head.
Wow.
I feel like I was a better fighter.
But that's
I
a huge
just,
lesson, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
What we can do to ourselves,
yeah. Because I
you
was
know?
like, I looked at the weight card, and I was like, he's 8 pounds heavier. What the heck? And like I just let that consume me. And I walked in
Yeah.
there pretty much knowing I was gonna lose. But
Wow.
it had nothing to do with like my training or anything like that. It was literally just all in my head, you know?
How are you going to combat that next time?
Well, so I know what I was doing wrong. I know why I lost. He had this
Hmm.
big hooping, like looping right, and I kept ducking it. Like I did a nice job dodging it, but every time I did, he would just put his forearm down and then just lean on me. And like that's legal, like it's fine, but I just kept
Sure.
getting stuck under it, and then I got
You
super
can counter.
tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I should have countered. Like in my head, I was like, oh, I should have, but I think
Sure.
just the eyes got to me. I started finally noticing that there were people watching, and
Wow.
the weight got to me, and I just got so in my head
Your
about the whole
head got
thing.
to you. It was
Yeah.
all in your head. Yeah.
And not only that, but the fights got started 2 hours late because one of the fighters was late.
Mm.
And so I had been in this like stuffy, full room for like 10 hours at this point. And I think at that point I just wanted to go home, to be honest with you. I was like, I've been
Mm.
here all day. Like I just want to fight this kid and get out of here, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, not my best, but I still love it. I still enjoy it.
Hey, I bet you learned more from that fight than the other two.
Yeah. And I mean, people always ask me, they're like, hey man, you want to go pro? Like, is that your goal? And it's like, not really. I mean, I just love it, you know? I'm sure you get
Mm.
that as somebody that, did theater, a pretty thankless like activity nowadays. Like, there's not a lot of people doing it because of the huge dollars it brings in. It's a lot of time for the love. And then, obviously starting like a new company, like you kind of understand just doing something because you absolutely adore it. And that's kind of what boxing is for me, you know?
Yeah. Jumping in and seeing what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Uh,
love
uh,
it. Yeah.
yeah, it's like I took like 3 weeks off from it for this health stuff, and I just wasn't me. I wasn't myself. So
I
very
get
quickly
that.
had to
I
get
get
back
that
in
with
there.
riding my bike any day I take off. I'm just miserable. I want to be out there riding.
Yeah.
So
And my coach, he said to me, he said, any day that you take off from something you love, it takes two off from you. And I'm sure you kind of get that. Like if you don't ride your bike for
yeah,
for a week, it's gonna take at least
yeah,
2 weeks to get that endurance back, you know?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I just went on this bike packing trip in North Carolina from Brevard to Boone with some friends, and it was supposed to be on these gravel roads, but I had a friend end up showing up with a road bike, so we mostly stayed on the Blue Ridge Parkway, and I'm glad we did because it was gorgeous. Have you ever been on the Blue Ridge Parkway?
See, I'm so out of touch with like the outdoors. I need to
Yeah.
figure out how to fix that.
Even just a drive on the Blue Ridge Parkway is worth it for the
Okay.
views. We saw a bear and two cubs. It was just an amazing experience to go and get from one place to another by bike and
Yeah.
camp and use only what's on your bike to survive.
See, I've been wanting to go camping for so long. I just don't know how to get into it. Like none of my friends
Really?
want to do it with me. Yeah.
Well, I can help you do that. Well, I like going alone, honestly, but I get that because nobody in theater really liked camping. So
Yeah.
it took me a long time to learn if I'm going to do this, I just got to go.
Yeah. So you like wouldn't I feel like going alone, like I feel like I would mess it up and it'd get eaten by a bear or something.
Nah, well, you gotta do all the research and ask me questions.
Okay.
And I mean, if you're ever around this area, I'll take you camping. You should
Yeah, I
definitely
might
go with somebody first before you do it.
yeah, I might take you up on that.
Come
I'm
on.
supposed to be
Yeah,
back in October. I don't know what your plans look like in October, but
come on, let's go.
yeah. And
I'm
if I
doing
were to go alone, like, what would you recommend? Because I might end up doing that because I've been wanting to go for so long, and I might just do it.
do you have any gear?
I mean, I could get some. I could
Yeah,
like a tent.
yeah. Well, then I'd suggest going car camping first.
Okay,
Instead, like, I like to bike backpack, so I'll hike 20 miles, camp, hike another 20 miles, camp, and then hike back to the car, kind of thing.
gotcha. Okay,
Which I'm doing at the end of September. But for you, the first time you do it, go find a place. I'm not a fan of campgrounds, but it might be easier for you to find a campground and pay for a spot. Go build a fire, set up your tent first. Always get set up first.
yeah.
You need a sleeping pad and a sleeping bag or sleeping quilt. Bring a pillow since you have your car. Be as comfortable as possible.
Okay.
And the one thing I tell everybody to do is bring earplugs because it's louder than you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Those bugs, owls, everything is so loud. It'll keep you awake all night long. So put in some earplugs and go to sleep. And like for some reason at home, I sleep like 6 hours a night. But when I'm camping, I sleep 9 hours.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the only like I know it sounds bad, but the only time I slept in a tent was when I went to this music festival and like they had you sleep outside and stuff. And I
Yeah.
just remember
But,
like yeah, I didn't like it because you can feel the sun beating in on you because I didn't have like the cover under the
uh,
tent. So I
yeah,
felt
you
like
need
the
to cover.
sun beating in on me and I woke up like every hour. Um so
Well,
I'm trying to just like
I can,
find like a nice good little at like cubby, you know, to
sure, I
set up
can
tent
suggest
in.
a great budget tent, and depending on how much money you want to spend, I can suggest all the gear you need.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is you bring water and food. Build a fire. If it's cold, bring enough, clothes and sleeping bag. Make sure the sleeping bag is warm enough for you to feel comfortable at night. And it's like meditation. Especially if you're by yourself, you're going to
Yeah.
go and just learn a lot about yourself and how you deal with silence, and then how loud it is at night, and just how you deal with yourself. It's important.
Yeah, and that's a good point because I feel like I don't spend enough time like alone. Like when I am alone, like I start thinking and all this stuff and I haven't really figured out how to deal with that. So I'm the kind of guy where like I've started setting timers where like from one activity to the next, it's like I have this much time and when that clock ends, like I have to move to the next thing. And that's just like
Mm,
what I found works best for me to like not get sad or anything like that. Just like keeping busy, you know?
sure. And that's what you can do camping too. So you give yourself the task of putting up your tent, setting up your sleeping pad, sleeping bag, getting everything ready for sleep. Then you start looking for wood for the fire. So you like
Gotcha.
bring all the wood to the campfire, then you build the fire, and then you start working on making dinner. So you give yourself all these tasks, or what a lot of people call, what is it? Your chores.
Yeah.
Backpackers call them chores. And then, it's when you're by yourself, you're like, okay, I'm ready for bed. It's 9 o'clock.
Nice. Has it kind of,
Not,
because you said you wake up at like 5 a.m. every morning. Was that like a thing that started because of the backpacking, or has that kind of always been a thing for
yeah.
you?
I've always been a morning person. I do my best work in the morning, but
Gotcha.
having kids, um, made that more of a thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They always wake up pretty early. Arthur especially. He's
Yeah,
Although he's getting better, he's more at 6:30. So I like to be up by 5 so that I can have some alone time in the
right.
house.
Yeah, I suppose I don't really value that because right now I'm a huge night owl. Like
Uh,
when I'm at work, I get bothered all day with like back to back like team meetings where everybody wants to like sync up and talk about the project. And
right.
like in order for me to get any work done, I need to stay up till like 3 a.m. when nobody's
Mm,
awake and just sit there and zone in coding, you know what I mean? Otherwise,
sure.
I can't get anything done. So that's kind of my schedule right now.
I
Very
get that.
busy. I
Okay, so
work.
but you can sleep in though. I'm
Yeah,
unable to sleep in.
yeah, so
If I
kids
went
would
to bed
not be
at
an
3,
option.
yeah. Well, if I go to bed at 3, I'm still waking up at 5. I'm
Yeah,
just exhausted, just
so
because
that
my body says, "All right, time to wake up."
yeah, so right now I'm just like I stay up till like 3, sometimes 4. I get up around 8:30 for work, which is like a pretty late start to a work day, so I'm pretty thankful for that. They're not too like strict about it. And then on the weekends, usually I'll just like sleep just pretty much throughout the day. Like whenever I feel tired, I'll just lay down, take a nap. And you know, I nap a lot. I started napping. I don't know if you've ever been a big napper.
I can't. I try. It's so hard for me to fall asleep during the day. I,
Interesting.
I have like FOMO, fear of missing out, I think.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, that's
How
one
many
thing
days
I've
a week
noticed.
do you train? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. No, no, you're good. I train like 5 days a week. So, what I'll usually do is I'll end work around 5:30 and then I'll head to the boxing gym, which is like 30 minutes away, train for a
Mhm.
couple hours, and then I'll head back. And that's when I'll clock in some overtime usually, work till about 3 a.m., then hit the bed. You know what I mean? Nothing too
Okay.
crazy. Yeah.
So you don't have to go into an office. You get to work at home.
Thankfully, no, I'm just working from home right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're talking about me moving to Arlington, but my lease isn't expiring for a bit, so I might just, save the money while I can.
Yeah.
Because Arlington is significantly more expensive than Williamsburg.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And
Any place near DC is going to be expensive.
yeah.
Yeah. It is nice up there.
My goal is to eventually like move to California or New York, not for like acting or anything like that, but
Mhm.
just I want to be around like more energy, more ambition. Like a lot of people where I'm at right now, like it's all very commuter like, and I just want to be around people who like just love where they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you been out there? Do you feel like that's what they do?
I,
They
I
love
I
being.
I don't know. I feel like anytime I've gone to New York or like I haven't been to California, but like I've been to Vegas, and Vegas is not a great example, but I just love like a lot of energy, like constant motion, it feels like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think it'll be for me for forever, but at least for right now in my life, I feel like that's something I really need. Just
When do you plan to do that?
uh so I think right now I can be like completely out of student debt and everything in a couple of years. No more than like probably two tops, I would say. So at the end of that period, I think I'm gonna do something crazy, either like move to like California or New York, or like even just like purchase a motorcycle and just travel the United States, like interviewing people or something
Do
crazy. I don't
that.
know.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Or
that's the
buy a bicycle and tour around the United States.
well, so my dad was a big motorcycle guy, and I
Oh,
kind
okay.
of want to like do that for him as well.
Fair enough. I get it.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do that too, but then I discovered bikes. I'm like, okay, now I just want to ride a bike all over the United States.
I've
I just
never
don't
been
have
a
time.
big bike guy. I feel like
Ah,
it's like my knees. I'm like, ooh, my knees.
that just means you don't have the seat in the right place.
Yeah, you're
You
probably
gotta raise the
right.
seat.
I feel
Yeah,
like I've never had a bicycle that was like made for me. You know what I mean?
sure. Yeah,
Because my
yeah.
my limited experience with a bicycle has been getting around campus, and
Oh,
so I've never enjoyed that. That's never like a fun thing.
yeah.
So I want to
It's just
attach
been their
something I
commute.
enjoy to bicycling.
Yeah. There you go. We need to get you interviewing and camping.
That could be fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of good
You could also camp
personalities.
on the camp with the motorcycle instead of spending money on a hotel or anything. You just
Yeah,
ride around and find places to camp too.
ride from like one Koa site to the next. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
why
That'd
not?
be sick. Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
There's a, there's also like motorcycle routes with camping involved that you can find. So
Gotcha.
like the maps will show there's a camp spot here along the
Okay.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, I might do that. Because I got a buddy, he just got a job at Amazon and he's interested in like a couple years. We were both like, we should do this together. And so we might just leave our lives behind for like a year and just go do this crazy thing.
Now's the time. You should do
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
think that's a great idea.
And it'll be like right in that pocket before we like start, presumably start getting married and having kids and stuff. So
Right. Start
yeah.
life.
Right.
You can
Yeah.
grow up after that then. Right. Whatever that means. I never grew up, but
Yeah, I don't see myself ever growing up. Still doing kid stuff all the time, and
yeah,
I don't know. You gotta have a good balance of both, I think.
sure.
But I've also
I
gotten
think
pretty good
it's
at like
important.
the adult stuff, like with work. It's just you gotta
Yeah.
kind of change in order to do work. I feel like.
Yeah, you adapt. You kind of
Right?
adapt to it.
Because used to
Oh,
like I would just let people tell me what to do, but if I did that now, like my bosses would like walk all over me. So kind of got to
hmm.
put your foot down somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. Can't let that happen.
Yeah.
It's tough to get the guts to stand up to your boss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you have to do it really, really carefully.
Yeah, I mean you don't want to get fired, but you also don't want to let them walk
Right.
all over you.
Yeah.
It's almost getting them to earn your respect. How does
Yeah.
that?
And my goal is to eventually do some sort of like project management because, I'm not like the best coder in the world. I kind of want to get on that more like human side where you're coordinating and helping your team and having those important business calls. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I want to be
Hmm,
within the company I'm at right now. So
very nice.
got to figure out how to get there.
Yeah, we have dreams of, so we're buying this building and creating the store, but we also want to continue to buy real estate. And we want to, one of my big things is I want to buy an Airstream. and Airbnb it in the back, but also we want to go to every national park in the United States. I might as well take the kids in an Airstream, drive
Yeah.
around.
What's
Um,
so remind me what is an Airstream again?
it's a camper that you
Okay.
tow on the back of a truck or something like that.
Okay,
So it's
yeah, yeah.
basically a home on wheels.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Okay.
the brand Airstream is just, it'll last forever,
Yeah.
and
I
it's
could see you
warmer in the
doing
winter
that.
time. And yeah, me too.
That'd be sick.
Yeah,
My dad, he
but
was
we
always
also want
looking
to
at like
buy.
toy haulers where you can haul like motorcycles in the camper and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Those look so fun.
yeah. That's it's a good way to camp, especially if you don't like being outside.
Right. Yeah.
See, I would pull up to the campsite, have my kids stay in the camper, and me, I would go set up my tent somewhere.
Do they not like the true camping? Or are they more
No,
like,
they love it. They
okay,
love it. My wife loves it too, but I'm
awesome.
sure they would love the camper more.
Yeah.
There's a little more comfort.
Yeah.
If they had to choose, I'm sure they would choose the tiny home.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Well, that sounds awesome. I mean, I've always wanted to like ever since I don't know if you saw that old movie RV with Robin Williams. I saw that as a young kid. It's a classic Robin Williams like
wow, I've
movie,
never heard of it.
well,
RV, huh?
but it's not like classic. It's only classic because I grew up watching it like once or twice with my
Sure.
dad. But it always made me want to get a camper and just like hit the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, but
that's the
uh,
plan. And we also want to buy like cabins and stuff like that to rent out, vacation cabins in the woods and the mountains.
yeah,
Oh
there's
boy,
certainly
lucky.
there's certainly money to be made there. My friend, he's like he's looking into like real estate in Florida and stuff. And it's something I want to get into, but again, I want to pay off those debts first and then do
Yeah,
like I said, I might want to travel or even like move to a different country for a bit. Like I was looking at Japan and stuff like that.
wow.
I want to do something crazy,
You
something fun.
should. I
Um,
always, I always suggest doing something crazy.
yeah,
How old are you? How old are you right
I
now?
just turned 24, so
Yeah, it's time to do something crazy.
yeah,
Get rid
that's
of the
kind
debt, and go be crazy, and then
of
go get into some more debt that you can pay
yeah,
off later.
yeah. And that's kind of the goal is to pay off the debt and then get into more like sustainable debt. Because right now, like I didn't have like any help, I guess, getting through college from
Mhm.
parents. I kind of just had to like go into debt, do it myself, and
Same here. Yeah.
yeah. And so in order to get out of that, I had I got a pretty good degree. And I'm not too worried about getting out of it, but it's the interest rate's pretty bad because I got some private student loans or whatever. And so
Yeah.
once I can get out of that, then I could get into like more controlled debt where it's like, okay, I can make these payments.
Sure.
So that's the goal anyway.
Yeah. You're right now. You're at a point where if you're just making the payments, you're not paying anything off. You're just paying the interest.
Exactly. Yeah,
I
yeah,
went through a phase like that.
yeah. But I'm actually at a pretty
It,
happy stage in my
it
life.
sucks what they do to you.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
depressing. It can wear a person down. But like I said, I wasn't
Mhm.
doing too well a couple of weeks ago. I wasn't going to the gym. I felt at one of the lowest stages of my life or
Yeah.
whatever. And then I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. So I decided to pull my bootstraps up and
There you go.
and change the perspective, I guess.
That's a great mindset. You can
Yeah.
change the perspective.
We interrupt this program to bring to you our sponsors. Thank you, Monster Energy, for sponsoring this episode. For 0 sugar and 10 calories, you get a lot of good energy that keeps you going throughout the day. Let me tell you, I have about 3 of these a day. We don't recommend having 3 of these a day. I personally do. As somebody that works 8 hours a day in front of the computer and then has to go box for 3 hours, it's good to have a nice little pick me up. So we recommend Monster Energy as your energy drink of choice. Thank you, and back to the program.
Um,
I kind of learned from giving my buddy some advice. That's like when I learned the most is when you kind of realize that you're giving better advice than you're willing to take. You know what I mean?
yep. Hmm.
And I was like, I'm just gonna take my own advice.
Well, the fact that you understand that is huge
Yeah,
because it's true. We give better advice than we take.
yeah,
It's easier to give it than take it, for sure.
100%. Yeah. So what's the next step for you? When's your shop going live?
Well,
Has it already gone live?
no. So it's like cutting away at a sculpture. Like you're chipping away at a sculpture. It's taking a lot longer than I want it to.
Right.
There's so many different certificates I have to get, and finding inventory is hard right now because of COVID and people stopped making inventory. So now, I'm just talking to all these distributors, even like agents who are in charge of getting inventory for stores like that. It's a mess. I'm learning. It's a quick course in business for sure.
Yeah.
And so my next step, we're still in the process of buying the building. So we're selling our house in Asheville, and we're doing a 1031 exchange so that we don't have to pay taxes on our house in Asheville for the building that we're buying. And then we have to renovate that. And I'm taking a business class in Marion in hopes that I'll win a grant from that class towards the business. And then the first process, so the building has 2 apartments that are already rented, so we'll have an income there. And then there's 2 retail spaces. We need to renovate one of the retail spaces and get that leased, so we'll get some more income there. And then we want to renovate the Airbnb slash hostel, which we're calling the Mary Inn in Marion. It's silly, but it works. So we're having some income coming from that, from people staying in town, because there's only one hotel in Marion. So that should be pretty lucrative. And then eventually we're going to renovate my retail space. And the goal is to get Marion Outdoors open in March of 2022. So just in time
Okay.
for the Appalachian Trail through hike season.
Yeah. It
Because
sounds
most
like a
people
master
start,
plan.
yeah, well, we've definitely thought it through for sure.
Yeah.
We've got the logo and everything. I've been working with a graphic designer.
Very
So we've got
cool.
logos for everything. And yeah, that's always fun.
When you can
Um,
start see the brand coming to life, I think that's one of the coolest moments,
yeah,
of a new
yeah.
project.
And people get it. So I've shown people the logo and they're like, oh yeah, I get that. And I want a t-shirt of that. I want a hat. Like, perfect. That's what we're kind of going for.
Yeah, that's
So
actually the
people
only
visit
reason I've
both.
invited you on so that I can get first dibs on the merchandise.
There you go. Yeah, that's the only reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an adventure for sure. And I'm excited about it. I just wish it would happen already.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sitting around waiting on people.
I think it's easy
So
to be like impatient when you're excited about something because I find
yeah.
myself getting into that a lot. And I find that you like make, okay, I don't get into a lot, but I find with girls specifically, I can be very
Mhm.
impatient and I'm like, okay, I just want to take this girl out. But I find those are the moments when you mess up, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I would say just, be patient, keep calculated because it sounds like you're calculating everything. Like you
Mhm.
said, like you with the Airbnb, it's like the only other place to stay other than that one hotel.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're really being smart about everything you're doing. So I think it'll work out.
Yeah. Luckily, I have a wife who's a lot smarter than I am, and she's helping me out
Yeah,
at
didn't she
times.
do the books at Barter or something?
She was the marketing director at Barter for a little while,
Okay. Yeah,
and then she became the director of marketing of Abingdon, and now she's the director of marketing for Smith County, which
wow.
Marion is in. Yeah, so she's moving on up,
Very cool.
and yeah, so eventually she's going to be the director of marketing for Virginia, I think,
That would be insane.
if she lets herself, right? Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know if that's
And
realistic, but you got her dreams.
yeah, exactly. And with the business, are you thinking about leveraging like the internet, like as far as like e-commerce and stuff like that?
Thinking about it. So,
Okay.
talking to distributors, they go, "Are you selling on the internet?" And if you are, they're not interested.
Really?
So right now, people are more interested in a brick and mortar store than online
Hmm.
sales.
Do you think it's just the
Because
space?
yeah, and I think Amazon has kind of ruined it for everyone because they're
Gotcha.
undercutting everybody.
Right.
So yeah, I think they want a store so people can go in and try something out. So
Yeah.
an outdoor brand, they want you to be able to go in and touch the product before you buy it, or try out the product before you buy it. And that's what
Gotcha.
I'll be able to do. And I also want to um, start outdoor experiences. So I'll offer like a glamping trip. So you get to be a backpacker, but you don't have to carry your backpack. We'll carry it for you. We'll cook the meals for you. We'll put you up in a hostel, or we'll set up the camp for you. So you get to experience it, but you don't have to do all the work.
I love
So
that.
the stuff like that. I want to do bike packing tours, hiking tours, stuff. Get
Yeah.
people outside and get people excited, especially people who haven't really done it who want to do it, and I can offer them an experience that's easier their first way in, their first time.
I don't think
So
anybody, or at least not a lot of people, are doing that right now. Like, I don't think anybody's offering the experiences where somebody like me who's never gone camping can kind of have a safe and controlled like first experience, you know?
yeah,
And
I
that
think
makes me sound a little bit like a weenie, but I think I would
no,
enjoy it. You know what I mean?
I think so too. I think
Yeah,
everybody would enjoy it,
yeah,
especially if you have the right first experience. I know people who, as kids, had horrible experience and never want to do it again.
right.
And that makes me so sad because I grew up camping and I've only had great experiences.
Yeah,
And I can't imagine having like, yeah, a bad one. I don't know
right.
how to anymore. I don't know
That
how.
that would be
You
so
make the,
cool
you may,
to,
so it's called type 2 fun. So maybe in the moment it's hard
yeah,
and it's not something you want to be doing, but whenever you leave it, like, damn, I want to do that again.
right.
We have to go
And
experience that again.
and you never like, at least with stuff like for you and me at least, like we never leave thinking, oh man, I wish I didn't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it might be hard to get on the bike, but like once you've done it, you're like, man, I've never regretted doing that, you know? And
Yeah.
that's
We
how
challenge
boxing is for
ourselves
me.
and yeah. See, that's that, again, I think it's very similar and you're challenging yourself every time you go into that gym.
Yeah,
And it may be the hardest day of your life, but you come out of it going, I fucking did that.
exactly.
Can I cuss? Is that all right?
Yeah, that's all right.
We didn't discuss that. All right. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like I had to say, like I
Yeah,
fucking did that, and I'm proud of myself. I want to do it again. What can I do that's even harder next time?
right.
What can I do to challenge myself next time?
And there's
Yeah.
a metric to it because like, just as a close example is with acting, like you obviously can have achievements, but with like biking and boxing, it's so measurable. Like I did 15 miles, or I did 60
Hmm.
miles, or I did 8 rounds of boxing. Like you can be like, wow, yesterday I only did 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I like that. There's a metric to it, you know? I like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, and it's a ladder. You keep going up the ladder.
right. Yeah.
Hopefully, and sometimes you may have to take a step back or two, but
Yeah,
then the next time you're higher on it. So.
right. Yeah, I don't know. I went biking once with my ex-girlfriend. I went biking with her and her family, and
Mhm.
I could not understand all of the mechanics on the bike. Like they had these
Ah,
like grade A bikes, and it had like 16 switches, and I felt like I was
oh
running a
wow.
computer like on while I was riding the bike.
Was it like a drop bar bike or
I
a flat bar bike?
I don't know what that means. I'm gonna be honest.
That's okay. It can get difficult to understand. I understand,
Yeah,
but once you get it, it's easy. It
right.
becomes second nature
Yeah.
because it becomes a part of you. Yeah, I've recently moved to what's called clipless pedals, which is actually clip-in pedals. So I have these shoes that I can clip in,
Okay.
and remembering to unclip before I stop has been a challenge. So you get somewhere and I forget, oh no, and I fall right over.
Yeah,
Just fall on my side.
because you go to like get
So
off, right? And then your feet
yeah.
are like stuck.
Oh yeah. And there's not enough time to unclip before I'm on the ground. Yeah.
I bet that's pretty funny though, if somebody were to catch you doing that. Or is it
Oh yeah.
common? Do people do it all like a lot in this in the space?
Yeah, especially beginners on clipless pedals. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
I I I even called it. I was like, how many times do you think I'm going to fall over during this trip? And it
Yeah.
happened about 5 times.
There needs to be
And
like a meme compilation of everybody like that's just getting used to those where it's just them tipping over
yeah,
constantly.
I wouldn't be surprised if, it was already a thing. I might have to look that up.
If not, we'll make it. And they'll just all be you 60 times.
Okay, perfect. I like it. Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
we were on a single track, which is just a trail, and I have a gravel bike, so it's difficult to go on a single track with a gravel bike, but we were going over these routes and that was fine, and these bridges, they were like tiny bridges, and I would call them out for everybody. There were about 5 people behind me, like bridge, roots, and we were going over this bridge, and then all of a sudden there's stairs, and I called out stairs and I just
what?
fall over in front of everybody. uh, we were not expecting stairs on
Yeah,
a
where'd the
single track.
stairs come from?
Well, it was just a steep steep section that they had built some stairs for. I think
Gotcha.
we were going the wrong way on the trail, but it was what we were told to do. So
Yeah. The the so I'm not like afraid of biking by any means, but I've seen some crazy clips because my cousin is very big into like mountain biking and stuff, and he has the GoPro and all that,
yeah,
and I see like some crazy angles when he's on it because he has to like pop these sharp turns, and if he doesn't, he just goes off the cliff. And I'm thinking, man, you gotta have some quick reaction time in order to be like a biker, or a mountain
and
biker, I
that's
guess.
exactly what I think when I think of boxing. You have to
That's
have
true.
some quick reaction time,
That's true. Yeah.
so you don't end up with concussions every time you fight.
See, but like for me, I feel like worst case I get hit, but I feel like in like mountain biking, if I make like a wrong turn, my life is over. I'm dead.
I mean, there have been people who've died of boxing from
That's
boxing,
true. Yeah, that's true.
but yeah, I no, I hear you. It's certainly when you know less about something, it's scarier. But the more
Yeah,
you learn, the less you're afraid.
100%. Yeah.
That's with
Well,
everything.
whenever your experiences go live on your thing, I'm gonna try them all. I'm gonna do them
Please
all.
do.
If there's a mountain
Come on.
biking, I'm doing it. If there's glamping,
Yeah,
I'm doing it.
I'm gonna need to test them out. So
You're gonna need somebody
you'd
to
be a
test it
great tester.
on.
Yeah. Grab your friends and say, "Come on, we're going on a trip."
Yeah, 100%. All
I'll
my
fly
friends
over here
moved
too.
away, unfortunately. Like I had one he moved to Chicago, the other moved to Knoxville, another one moved to California, believe it or not. So
What a great place to meet up
yeah,
and see each other once a year.
yeah. I'm at
Marion,
that.
Virginia for an experience.
That's not a bad idea, honestly.
No, I've got friends. We do a camping trip once a year.
Yeah.
Fishing, camping, stuff like that.
I would love to learn
Whatever
more
we can
about
do.
fishing. I've
Yeah.
never really, I've never, I sound terrible, but I've never really I was never taught to do outdoors things as a
No,
kid.
I hear you.
And so it's just not something that's been a part of my life, but I would like to change that at some point.
It takes guts to say, okay, I know nothing about this. I'm gonna go and learn it on
Yeah.
my own.
And one of the
Well, how
scariest
do you
things
start?
is like I want to be able to like do that for my kids. And like if I had to
Yeah,
teach them how to do that, like what?
you would
I don't
know,
know how to
right?
do it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing I suggest is go watch YouTube videos. There are
Yeah.
many people filming their experiences, and it's better than, I mean, reading a book is great, but watching television, watching a reality television show of people surviving, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's not real.
Right.
I mean, it may be for that, but they're creating the drama for it.
Yeah.
It's never that crazy. So just go watch people, and then that will give you the confidence to at least try it, or you'll learn
Right.
what gear to buy or where to go do it. And I think that's the first step. Just watch as much as you can, get as much
Yeah.
information. Podcasts, of course, are
Yeah.
great.
It's crazy what we
Uh,
can learn from YouTube. There's seriously
yeah,
you can YouTube anything and learn it.
I know. I wish
I'm
I had the patience to film all my trips.
yeah.
I'm so in the moment. I put the camera down and forget.
You just gotta get
I'm
you I know like it would cost money, but you gotta get you somebody that's like a cinematographer that is
Yeah,
also passionate about the outdoors that would
yeah.
just do both of those.
There's probably plenty of people. I think if I hire somebody for the store, I want to hire somebody who's interested in that
Yeah,
and start a YouTube channel through the store and
yep,
or go out and take them on trips and film it all. So yeah, it's
yeah,
certainly in the back of my mind to do that, to
right.
share the experiences.
Is it overwhelming jumping into business, like having to think about everything? Because you've named like 15 things you have to think about all the time,
Right.
like simultaneously.
Well, I mean that was acting.
That's true.
You're thinking about 15 things simultaneously.
That's true.
So it's similar in that way, but I don't know. It's yeah. I don't have to play a character. I can be myself for a little while.
Yeah. Are you enjoying that?
I think that's the scariest part. Being myself, like going to these conventions and talking to people and saying, "Hey, I want to sell your products at my store," and trying to continue this conversation with people. It's hard when the
Yeah.
script isn't written for me.
And not only that, I feel like it's also easier to sell something if you're trying to like use your acting skills and be somebody else. But I think you're trying
Yeah,
to go for that more authentic approach where you're just
yeah,
yourself. So you're trying not to
exactly.
lean into that acting stuff as much,
Right.
probably.
But it's still I still look at it as I'm playing a character. I'm
Hmm.
just playing the charming version of myself.
There you go. Yeah.
So and it's helped. It's worked, and I like it a lot.
Yeah. I think
So
everybody kind of does that to an extent. Like you kind of put on a different persona depending on what you need to achieve, you know?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
we're all playing characters in a way,
right.
using our behavior and actions to get what we want.
Yeah. Did you ever end up writing that book? I know you were working on a book.
I didn't finish it. I may one day. It
Yeah,
just I don't know. I'm still struggling with, do I really have the information people want?
yeah.
You know, I
Other
may.
things make sense right now too, that maybe isn't the book, maybe the book does make sense right now, you know?
Yeah, it's still like on my computer. It's still there to work on, and maybe if I get this store up and running, and I doubt I'll ever have downtime, but if I ever have downtime, I'll pick it up again and start working on it. But now
Yeah,
I want to write. Now I want to write about my outdoor experiences. So
right. There really should
yeah,
be like a ballad written specifically about unfinished projects or something like that. Like
yeah,
the amount of unfinished projects that I have just cataloged on my computer, you know?
I know it's sad. If we just finish them, then maybe we can make something out of it.
Yeah.
That's
No,
the thing.
but like, again, I think I think there are people in this world that accept when something else makes more sense at the moment. And I don't think it's always a bad thing to pivot at that point in time, right?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Like for
We got to
me,
follow what we're feeling too, because if you're not passionate about the project, it's not going to come through
exactly.
in it.
And
So
that's something I'm noticing in my life right now is like I've keep wanting to do things that I'm not inherently interested in. It's just they look fun or they look glamorous or they look lucrative, you know?
like
And
what?
so well, just like I've gone through so many phases where it's like, oh, I want to try this because it looks so fun, and like I think I tried like getting into like music production. Like I know nothing about music, but I was like, oh, I would love to like make like electronic music. It's a space I don't know anything about. I
Sure.
probably could learn it, but I don't think I'm inherently interested in it. I think it just
Hmm.
looks fun.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to just do things lately that I enjoy. So boxing, talking to people, stuff. Those are the two things that I'm really just enjoying right now. And it never feels like
Cool.
work. It just feels like I'm doing something I'm passionate about?
Right. Well, that's how
So
we figure out who we are. We
yeah,
throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
exactly. And I've thrown so much at the wall. I talk to
Yeah.
people and they're like, "Oh, you tap?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, you did cheer?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, you're a boxer?" I'm like, "Yeah." You know?
That's awesome. That's the best
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Also, a quote I like to tell people all the time is, changing your mind is one of the best ways of finding out whether or not you still have one.
I
So
like
you
that.
go to do something, you change your mind, it's great. You know,
Yeah.
you that's what helped me get through this, the change of mind, giant change in my life.
Right.
So
No, when you told me that, I was so shocked because like you had just
yeah,
always been the actor guy. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You'd been the Gene Kelly tap dancing acting guy.
And that was another like difficult thing to get through. Like that's been my identity. So I'm changing my identity.
Yeah.
And it's hard for people to hear that. Like,
Well,
what? You're
exactly. Because it forces, I was
but
just listening to this, like when you make a big change in your life, like it forces other people to change the way they think about you, which makes them
yeah,
have to change the way they interact with you. And nobody likes to have to do that, right?
right, right. But then, so my good friends, I've been able to kind of weed out the people that were just my friends because of the acting stuff,
Yeah.
or they could get something from me for the acting.
Hmm.
So, but it's weeded out my real friends, and they've gone, oh yeah, of course.
Right.
Why didn't you do that years ago? Or
Right.
why haven't you been doing both of them? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I was like, oh yeah, you know who I am, so you understand, right?
And I think the answer to that is that time, with theater, like you just never have time
Yeah.
to do anything except for the theater.
I had no time, and again, I had no time with my kids.
Yeah.
Ah,
Hello? You there? I think we lost you, Andrew. Um, well, uh, we're experiencing technical difficulties. Let's see. What time are we at? It's been about 50 minutes. Um, I wanted to give him a proper goodbye. I'd hate to just have him go. Man, oh man. Maybe I can, I don't know. Thank you for joining us on this third episode, third installment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it appears Andrew Livingston's phone has died. He was on his phone, and unfortunately, it has died. So yeah, we're gonna call it quits to episode 3 of, or actually episode four of Push to Talk. Today we are joined by Andrew Livingston, actor, biker, entrepreneur. Give him a follow on all his socials. They'll be in the description down below. And yeah, check out his stuff. He's gonna be in charge of the camping space real soon. His store is gonna take off. So give him a like, give him a follow. He's got an Instagram page where he's very active with all of his travels. So check him out. And yeah, if you haven't gone camping, you should, and I will too. If you haven't, I challenge you to go camping. I myself would like to go camping within the next couple months. So we challenge you. Thank you for joining us today on episode 4, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.